All right, gents, today I have the privilege to interview some of the members of the Post Scriptum development team. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself for the viewers, that would be awesome.
Hey guys, I'm Brazo. I'm lead project on Post Scriptum, and yeah, that's me.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan or Ross, and I'm one of the level designers in Post Scriptum.
Hello everyone, I'm Cameron or Scrub. I'm the sound designer for Post Scriptum.
All right, well, I think we did an interview with some of you. I think most of you guys were there a couple of months ago. And of course, some things must have changed since then. So I got some questions here, both for myself, the community, and you guys gave me some questions that you got from your community. And I figured out with the first question, I asked it last time. I want to ask it again. What is Post Scriptum in the bigger sense of the word? What is it?
Scrub, you want to describe Post Scriptum?
I would call it large-scale warfare, combined arms, historically accurate as much as possible over massive 4x4 kilometer maps and above in terms of size, with a real sort of focus on realism and team play.
Yeah, and about 4x4 kilometer maps, that is being the smallest of all maps. So we will have multiple maps from 4x4 up until 8x8 kilometers.
All right, and is Post Scriptum a mod, a game? Is it on Steam? Is it going to be on Uplay? I mean, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, at the very, very beginning, and I'm talking about last year around, I think it was the summer of 2016, we were planning to be a mod to be free content and just release, like a few vehicles, a few World War II weapons for Squad, the game. And after time, the team kept on growing, and we had more ambitions and bigger plans. So with this, we keep hiring people, and at one point it made sense that to actually make our vision of Post Scriptum, we needed like a legal structure, like a company, and all of us, we all quit our old jobs and we opened that studio, Periscope Games. And in order to have a studio and actually not being employed, we needed a salary. So to get the salary, we had a partnership with Off-World Industries, who are developing Squad. And right now they are our partners, and they are publishing Post Scriptum.
Awesome. So it's no longer based on Squad. It's going to be its own game then.
Yeah, its own game. What we are going to use is the base code from Squad. So think of it like if it was a car, like the chassis of the car, the engine being made by Epic Games with Unreal Engine 4, and us at Periscope Games, instead of focusing on the chassis and all the hard code, we would focus on the actual exterior and interior design of the car. So it is more like a combination of three departments, and in order to get the game you really want to play.
It also means we can also add as well, add new systems as well to that. It doesn't mean that we can't, we can't add anything onto it. It's just a base.
Yeah,
system.
we are prepping the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Nitros on spoilers, if you're flared rims, LEDs,
and of course, I think
dipping your car.
Oh yeah. So yeah, now we are basing the game on a very, very good chassis, which is Epic Off-World Industries core, and with this, it allows us to add every feature we want. We've changed the UI entirely. We've made new game rules, so you won't have a single gameplay that is in Squad. We have our own rules, so don't expect AAS or those kind of mods, not those kind of gameplay mode you have in Squad.
Okay. Well, this is going to be probably a shorter answered question. I play a lot of Arma, which you allow to do Freelook. Will Post Scriptum have this in either not at launch, maybe later on in development?
Very likely to be at launch, but if it's not at launch, it's going to be after. So yeah, we will have Freelook for sure.
Okay, that's a pretty easy question there. So right now, obviously, your focus, if I'm not wrong, is on Market Garden, and then more precisely Arnhem and the battles between the British Paras and the 30 Corps versus the Germans. Obviously, if you mention Market Garden, I feel like most people might not even think of Arnhem. They'll think of like Nijmegen and the Americans fighting there. Will you be adding those in? Is it an idea? Is it a plan? Or are you maybe discussing a completely different approach like Red Orchestra 2 and Rising Storm 1? We're totally different theaters, but they're the same, game and same studio.
Well, I'm going to explain a tiny bit more because we are doing Arnhem and the western vicinity of Arnhem, which is a total of 5 maps. And if you combine those 5 maps, you have a total of 147 square kilometers of playable area. So we will have the 1st Airborne Division fighting the Wehrmacht and the Waffen-SS. And in addition of those factions, we will have the 30 Corps, who is the actual... Those are the British troops on the ground trying to reach to Arnhem. So you will have also the possibility for you to play with tanks and all the the British Army from the south side of the bridge. Then you were talking about Eindhoven and Nijmegen. I'm not quite sure how you would say it.
Eindhoven and Nijmegen, if you were to be going for the Dutch approach on those names.
I would go for the right approach, but. Anyway, so right now nothing is started on Nijmegen and Eindhoven. It is something we would love to do. We would love to have like an extra faction, but like I said earlier, we are a very new studio, very small team, so we want to fully focus on that Arnhem part and deliver a good game with these. And if success is here and people likes it, and everything is going according to plan, then we will add extra factions, and in the future we would even do other theater. Could be like Pacific or North Africa or even France or whatever. I mean, we could do whatever we want, but in order to fulfill our vision of Post Scriptum, we want to actually do Arnhem 100%.
Awesome. So you're just focusing on making that 101% working, and then you might look into
We'd rather avoid having like that one map of that one area and another map of another area that have nothing to do with it, because you would have to remodel the entire environment, because we are going for 5x5 or 6x6 kilometer maps. So modeling all those assets, it's like hundreds of building and hundreds of props and everything. So we want to fully cover the Arnhem area, and when this is done, properly done, we'll see what's next.
Sounds good. So I don't want to treat, like, when we talk about squad, and I mean when we talk about games like Post Scriptum, I don't like using the word classes because that makes me think of Call of Duty. But when I say classes, I mean like roles, I guess. How many classes / roles are there? And maybe you could list all of them if there's not like 50 of them.
No, we don't have 50 classes. What I can do is, we have classes, but we have first of all we have types. So you would have like infantry, tanks, and logistic. So that's the first thing. You will split the team in 3, and in each of those 3 sections, you can actually create a section. So you would be the section leader of an infantry squad, or you would be the section leader of a tank squad, or you would be the section leader of a logistic squad.
But then within those squads, you have roles, like you have rifleman and sniper, etc.
Yes.
etc.
So in the, let's say you would go in able section, you would have the sergeant, who would be a player, and that sergeant, it could be you could have like an SMG or a bolt action rifle. That's up to you. And under the sergeant, you would have 2 fire team leaders. So you have 2 corporal, and those corporal, again, they can select the kit they want. So you have the medic, the machine gunner, anti-tank, marksman, grenadier, rifleman, sapper if you are in a logistic squad, and you also have the tank commander and the tank crewman.
And I'm assuming, like you said, so for example, a squad leader or section leader, if you're playing as a British, can switch between having a rifle or an SMG. So you have different class loadouts or role loadouts, before I use the word class too much.
Yeah, you have a loadout, but a sergeant, a section leader, would not be able to have an anti-tank gun with him. He would, it's based on your role. It's very unlikely that the squad leader is the guy with the Piat or with the Panzerfaust.
I understand, but I'm trying to say, so you have the ability to go for, hey, I want to be able to provide long-range cover for my squad, or I'm going to be the guy who goes in buildings first and SMGs people down as a squad leader, as you said.
Yeah. And internally, intra-section, you will have two corporal, two fire team leader. And those guys, they will have 3 guys below them. So let's say I'm the corporal of fire team Charlie. I have 3 private with me. It could be a Brand gun and 2 Lee Enfield. So as the sergeant, I can order my corporal to go there and the other corporal to go on the other flank. So, but that is not something based with orders like you would see in Brothers in Arms and stuff. It is all based on VoIP system. So it's an intra-section hierarchy, but it's you have to make it your own, and you have to play the game your own. It's not something scripted.
Okay. Basically incentivizes more team play within the team rather than just having, say, 4 or 5 different squad leaders and perhaps a commander. It sort of gives responsibility to other players in the team that can then move on to being a section leader, rather than sort of in current games you get a lot of people that hide away from that sort of role. We want to try and encourage people to take a leading role, so then the community grows, gets better at the game, the actual rounds maybe last a bit longer, a bit more contentious, and overall the gameplay is a bit more tactical and competitive.
I'm one of those people that doesn't want to be SL and Squad or Rising Storm or whatever. It just scares me.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
That's good. It's good to hear that you're trying to actively.
Yeah, but you can't really design a game, by leveling up from the bottom. You have to, at some point, someone has to step up. It is a teamwork game, and yeah, if you want teamwork, someone needs to be in charge at some point. There is just no other way around. If there is no teamwork, then it's a free-for-all, and that's definitely not the game we are interested in.
And like I said, if you don't want to go straight for the section leader role, you can take one of the fire team leader roles, and then you've got 2 other people you can sort of look to if you're perhaps struggling or not sure what to do.
So you
also relieves the section. Sorry, it also relieves the section leader as well. Like he has a second in command, which can also help, and he's not trying to juggle too many tasks at once. It lets him have a little bit of leeway in terms of trying to figure out what to do and how to do it.
So if I heard it correct, kind of going off the question, so you have a commander who has section or squad leaders depending on the faction you're playing as under him, and then each section / squad leader has 2 fire team leaders, and then each fire team has 4 members including the FTL, correct?
Almost correct. You would have 1 sergeant, 2 corporal, and each corporal would have 3 soldiers under his command. So you have 8 people per squad. 9 people per section. And yeah, so it's 1 sergeant, 2 fire team leader, and then 3 soldiers below those fire team leaders.
Okay. Well, I personally am subscribed to your official Post Scriptum YouTube channel, and I think I don't want to. I think was it you, Raikane, who made a video on the different game modes? Okay,
no, that was Scrub. He was the voice.
One of you made a video on some different game modes. Now, Bryzo already mentioned that you're not going to see AAS or another game mode from Squad in Post Scriptum. I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to ask, what are we going to see? And tell us a little bit about the game modes. And I think most important, are all game modes playable on all maps?
Okay, so I'm going to start explaining a few things, and then Cameron will take over since he did the videos in those game modes. But there are 3 game modes in total for Post Scriptum at the moment, and each game mode will have 2 versions. So if we start with offensive, it's attack defense. So you would have like 1 attacker and 1 team defending, and the idea would cap 2 points at the same time. And once those 2 points are capped, then you can push forward. The enemy will not be able to recap instantly those cap zones to avoid the back and forth effect we can have in some games that I personally dislike. So that would be offensive, and then we would have stratagem. Stratagem is a tiny bit more complex. It's a bit more like a chess game. You would have like multiple areas on one map at one time, and you would have to cap them. The commander would actually decide which one to cap in any order you like. And when you get those locations, you can push forward, and the commander can actually drop down a base and develop his own base wherever he likes. So, and upgrade those bases in order to get better gear out of them.
I can link the video that Scrub made in the description, so people
Yeah.
that aren't like too sure, there's a I think there's like a 10-minute explanation on stratagem alone, or 15-minute, so that should be like some background information for people.
It sounds really complex, but it is not that complex.
Yeah, I mean, reading from a script and trying to explain something visually isn't quite as informative as if you were to play it along with other people and actually see the battle moving throughout a map, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is every game mode you have playable in every map that you have, or is there some maps that are too small for some game modes? Or
well, our smallest map is 4x4 kilometers, so there is no such thing as too small maps.
Like, since if you have an 8v8 or 8x8 map and a 4x4 map, I could see that some game modes might be made for the 6x6 or 8x8 maps. But if you're saying they work on each, that's awesome, because it means you get every game mode on every map, right?
Yeah, they would work on all maps, but we will tweak the rules and like the distance in between cap zones and stuff. But all game modes will work on all maps, so you can do whatever you want. And the third game mode is probably one of my favorite, is the sandbox. You just do whatever you want. You have like a server admin, and it just spawns whatever vehicles you want anywhere you want, and it's for role play and communities. So you just do what you want with your friends or with against another team. So you can decide, you make your own rules and you decide, okay, we're going to defend that bridge over here, and you have 45 minutes to get it. If you don't, then we can counterattack, and you will have 5 tanks, 2 trucks, and 1 mortar, and that's all you have. Deal with it. You make your own game.
Basically, an endless game.
We sort of wanted to bridge the gap between. Yeah, so think of it similar to Arma 3's Zeus. So we wanted to sort of bridge the gap between the heavy military simulation of Arma with something like Squad or Rising Storm. So we can have a bit more sort of tense emergent gameplay where you're not quite sure what the next objective is going to be. You have no idea where the enemy could be or what sort of assets they have. It's all up to the server admin or the game master, we'll call them. It's basically, we wanted to bring that sort of aspect, the freedom from Arma, with the sort of tactical gameplay and PvP that you can get in other tactical first-person shooters.
Yeah. Also, let's communities. We know there's communities out there that like to make their own scenarios up and like to have some competitive gaming as well, and that and make their own objectives and everything. So
it's the freedom to do exactly what they want.
Exactly.
I mean, I can already see some people. I know there's people out there that are very much into reenactment or reenacting, but getting a full kit is very expensive. Now you can reenact for, I don't know, like whatever the cost of the game will be, plus a computer, which is a little bit expensive, I guess. But you could reenact market garden scenarios with all your friends, or with 50 versus 50. That's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it's unlikely. It's unlikely to work on the public servers because people would not understand what's going on. But if you have a tight community and you want to do your Saturday night event, then you can, and you just manage it yourself. There is no timer, no script restricting you from anything. You just drop down the vehicle and deal with it.
Yeah, like Scrub said, it is basically Zeus, where there's like a person controlling everything. And I love Zeus, and that sounds like a really cool kind of alternative in Post Scriptum.
I used to be in an Armour clan, a Milsim clan, and we used to do that kind of stuff. And it just made the game so much better if you could do that.
Yeah, no, totally agree. It's
frustrating to have so much content and just be able to use it the way the level designers decided to. It's you would like to feel like, oh shit, if only I could do that.
Now, yeah, like you unrestricted for everyone to do what they kind of want, right?
Yeah.
So
could be unbalanced, but that's not our problem.
I mean, I don't think people would argue about balance in a sandbox game mode. So obviously we just talked about game modes and a little bit about maps, and I've seen quite a bit about maps, and I live in Canada now. I moved here, but I used to live right in between the bridges at Nijmegen and Arnhem, and I know the area there, and it was really cool seeing some pictures of you guys, like aerial pictures and pictures from the ground, and showing those pictures next to your in-game version of that map. Obviously, you're very adamant about trying to a very large degree, historically recreate the battlefield. How much? So, but that always takes a lot of time. So, how many maps do you have at release, and do you plan to add any more, or are you trying to work on other stuff besides maps after your release, or what's your idea for that?
Currently, we have 4 maps, so expect on release 4 maps. That's for sure. And then later on, post-release, we don't know how long it's going to take us, but we are going to do that 8 by 8 kilometer map of Arnhem, and this one is going to be the crown jewel of Post Scriptum, because it is going to be massive. It will include the John Frost Bridge. It will have like Arnhem downtown with the cathedral, and you would have like 6 kilometers south of the bridge. So you would actually have to drive all the way up to that bridge. So that is something that is going to be released slightly after the game, but those 4 maps are going to be delivered, which is Hilsum, Doorwares, Driel, and Johanneshoef.
Okay, and then
Johanneshoef includes Oosterbeek as well.
Yeah,
and then
Oosterbeek,
every
yeah.
map, like we just said, has all 3 game. Well, I guess as all 2 game modes playable on, and then the sort of Zeus like sandbox mode. Yeah.
Yes. And each one of those maps, because we've modeled, I think, 80 or 90 buildings so far, like houses and downtown buildings, like bunch of farms and barns. We also modeled some what we call internally hero building, like, landmarks. So we have the Arnhem Bridge, we have the Hilsum Hotel Switzerland, and, we have like, I think, 20 or 25 historical building remodeled from scratch.
Like using like old pictures and references and stuff?
Yeah, we are in touch with the Artenstein Museum, the Airborne Museum close to Arnhem, and they send us the blueprints of the actual museum itself, because it was used as the headquarters for the British Airborne during the market garden.
Damn, that's awesome. So obviously, I mean, I think you mentioned some vehicles. You mentioned tank crews, and I think we've talked about this the last time I interviewed you. But obviously, stuff has changed, and I think you mentioned that yourself. So I asked you how many vehicles are there, and you lost count at 30, and that kind of scared me, because that means that there's more than 30. So how many vehicles are there right now in Post Scriptum?
Right now, as of today, playable, we have 41 vehicles, and I'm including the motors as vehicle. You may not consider it as a vehicle, but technically for us, it is like a vehicle. So it is 41 vehicles, and we have another 9 vehicles to do for release, which is early next year. So yeah, I think we would say 50 vehicles.
50 vehicles, are they all ground vehicles, or because we're talking about Market Garden, will there be air vehicles, or is that a secret, or?
It is not really a secret. We will have air vehicles, so you would be able to jump out of the C-47. That is something you've seen on our Facebook. And so yeah, you at the beginning of the round on the Hilsum, for instance, for the first 5 minutes of the game, if you don't cap something, like a cap zone, you will jump from the plane. So that's something players will be able to do. However, it's not going to be a player-driven vehicle. Players will not be able to fly planes in Post Scriptum, or not at the very, very beginning.
Okay. Obviously, you don't want people to fly the respawn vehicle around. I think that's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Don't trust people with
yeah,
that.
I was gonna say that. Now, obviously, I feel like this isn't a stupid question. There's 3 of you. There's 50 vehicles, or at least 41 right now, and 50 planned in total. Can each of you mention your favorite vehicle right now, whether it's one that's planned or one that's already in there, and then why? For example, did you model it yourself, or does it just sound really cool, or does it just look amazing? Like, tell me.
Scrub?
I think I'll start with, well, for me, my favorite vehicle is the M4 Sherman Firefly. Basically because personally, it's one of my favorite sounding tanks we have, aside from the Tiger, obviously. And it's
technically, yeah.
It was taken from an American vehicle and made better.
It made it decent.
Ooh.
Yes, more powerful.
Well, for me,
basically, it's just a little bit. It's quite maneuverable, quick, and deadly, and it's easy to drive away from Tigers and any other AT equipment, basically.
Yeah. Okay, for me, it would probably be the Stug. I think it just looks so like heavy and it's a beast. Like it looks like it would just kill anything that you shoot at. And its armor's so thick, and yeah, I just love German tanks. They look so good, and they look cool as well.
Yeah, we have the Stug 3 finished and in game, so you would be able to play with this one. And later on, we will have the Stug 4, which is not yet done. For me, my favorite, I think I'm going to go with the Panzer V Panther.
I like you.
It's quick, it's super high velocity, it is beautiful, and it is quick.
I think I got to play with the Panther way back, and I was gonna say if I had to choose one from like my perspective as a player, not as a dev, I think I had so much fun just looking at the tanks. Not so much even like driving them, but just walking there and having this tank battle going on, and these giant freaking tanks driving around. And I think my most favorite thing about the tanks in your game so far was the turret rotation was with the WAs and D keys, if I'm not wrong. That felt so, and it felt so accurate, and like I don't know, it felt a lot less arcadey than doing it with your mouse. So I know I'm super excited, and I really hope we get to play soon. Like winky face.
Yeah, and
since that playtest, which is quite a while ago now. All of our vehicles have had updated engine audio, and all of the cannons now have specific sounds based on their
and they are they are amazing. And I think you will have to take your headphones a bit down, because I think I lost quite some hearing since the beginning of
tinnitus.
I think you did. What about
that's
me?
how you get tinnitus.
Like 20 times a day.
So I think we touched on this a long time ago, and I'm not sure if I asked this already or not. But when we first talked months ago, you mentioned the game mode, which I don't think it's a real game mode, as in the sense of a real game mode where you have like stratagem or sandbox, but a game mode in which the British paras are fighting the enemy armor without their British armor behind them. So it'd be airbornes versus tanks. Is that still a thing?
That's what I was mentioning earlier, but I didn't get into it because I know another question was coming about this. We have two, we have offensive, which is the main game mode, the one you will see very often on public servers, which is defend and attack. There is more to it, and I would like you guys to watch the offensive video. You will understand the full scope of it. But we have two game modes per game mode. So we would have offensive authentic, and we have offensive armory. And offensive authentic would be exactly the gear that was available that day and nothing else. So if the British are only 6-pounder, then that's all they're gonna get. And so authentic, it's very unbalanced. It's only for the hardcore player or who wants the actual what happens. And armory, it's balanced. So if the German have one Tiger, we were going to give some sort of like a Churchill and maybe a Firefly to the British, even though there were no Firefly west of Arnhem because the reinforcement never came. So it is still a game, and we still want to give people a chance.
But you just I was going to ask, how are you going to balance airbornes fighting Tigers or whatever? And then you mentioned it's going to be unbalanced just for the super hardcore people. So you're not actively trying to balance the authentic game mode in which airbornes might be facing Tigers or Panthers, going, hey, here's your 6-pounder, good luck? Or
authentic is based on facts. So if we are on Hilsum on the 17th of September 1944 at 2 p.m., people just arrived, they just landed. So they have like a few Jeeps, they have some Brand Carrier, they have some 6-pounder, and that's pretty much it. So no, the authentic is based on facts.
For the real.
It's going to be unforgiving, but it's going to be fun, trying to get around all that and trying to achieve victory from all that.
Like get an underdog snatch win.
Exactly, yeah. It'll feel awesome.
So I think it's funny to ask this question, and I feel like it's, especially nowadays, people ask this about every game that gets released. And obviously, since you guys started off as a mod, it's a funny question. Are you going to allow other people to mod stuff for Post Scriptum, whether it's a map or an army, or I've seen people make like a French army for squad what if someone wants to make an American army for Post Scriptum? Are you open to that? Are you going to like release some mod tools? What's your stance on this?
I mean, we would be a real asshole if we're not giving, the opportunity to mod our game, since we were modders before. So yeah, full access, that's for sure. Exactly the same way Squad released the editor and the SDK. Post Scriptum is going to follow the exact same path. So if you want to make your own, you want to change the paint on one tank, or you want to make your own faction, or you want even to make your own theater, it's open door.
So I hear a rising Scriptum coming then, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was a stupid joke. One thing I think Squad recently introduced, and it was made me very happy, because obviously I'm a content creator, and sometimes you want to make a video, and it's very frustrating if you have like 6 friends and you're in a squad. I know your squads are a little bit smaller, but still, or your fire team's a little bit smaller. But you're 6 friends in the squad, and you're having fun, and this guy joins, and he keeps spamming the mic for whatever reason, whether he's just bored or trying to troll or whatever. And then before you know it, you kick him, he comes back in. Are you going to have lockable squads or passworded squads, or how are you trying to deal with people who want to play, privately or with their friends or whatever?
I don't think it's going. I think it's going to be something the admin decides on the server side. Like, do I want my server to be with locked section or not? I think it's just going to be that easy. I don't want to force people to have lockable sections or not. I think it's up to the admin.
I'm pretty sure some server admins don't like it when people lock their squads. I've seen that in some games.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But you're going to allow people. So there will be a way for people, whether it's a server admin or whoever, there is a way to lock your squads if the server admin allowed it, is the question.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. I mean, not so much from my perspective as someone who makes videos, but I think I speak for a lot of people that sometimes you want to like play a game with some friends, and it's annoying if people keep joining and yell at you for no reason.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So we talked about this last time again, and I feel like nowadays, without getting into a political arena or getting political here, nowadays I feel like this is like the most talked about thing out there is obviously last time you said there's going to be historical accuracy if units wore a swastika or SS-Runes.
You want to know if we have female black Nazis? Say it.
I want to know. No. Obviously, you went from a mod to a game, and I think there's different a different rule set in between brackets between that, especially I think if you want to release your game on Steam. I'm not sure about that, but that's what I hear all the time. That's what people use as an excuse. Are you going to have swastikas, SS-Runes / historical markings on vehicles, infantry, or what's your idea now?
As of today, yes, there will be historical signs that could be British or German, or there will be actual signs where they should be. We will not add any where they shouldn't be. Like on crates, there is one on the side, and then we will add it there. So we're not going to add some just for the sake of adding some. But because right now we are a product and we intend to sell worldwide, it is illegal to release the game with those signs in Germany. And I think, and that is something I would need to double check, but I think Germany is the only country in the world where you cannot release a video game or a toy with a Nazi symbol.
Not sure, I think Australia, but I can't really remember. I think definitely Germany.
Yeah, Germany. So, and because there is a big part of the community in Germany, we don't want to say, sorry guys. So we will probably make like a localization patch or something. So if you buy the game from Germany, you will not see those signs because it is illegal, and that is out of our control. If it was just up to me, it would be everywhere because it was there. Why hide it? I mean, it's just a fact. It's not an idea or our political opinion. It's just fact again.
Exactly. And I'm happy to see. I mean, obviously a lot of big devs don't want to go through the whole issue of doing that, but it's awesome to hear you guys haven't changed from your idea months ago where it's like, well, it was there. It's just historical. Just put it on there, right? And
well,
it's awesome to hear you haven't changed that.
Let's be fair. If tomorrow Valve contacted me and say your game is not going to release on Steam, sorry, it's not going to release on Steam if you keep that sign, sadly, I think we would have to bend our back. We're not as big as Valve, and we would just remove it.
I don't
sadly,
think
I
anyone
hope
would not understand that at the same time. But I'm glad to hear that you're at least not actively trying to remove an historical aspect of World War II. In my opinion, that's good to hear.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't remove it at all.
Yeah, so it's only if we're really forced to, like we'll try our best to keep it in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that I guess lots of people asked, and I saw like 5 or 6 times this question came up about destructive environments. People are spoiled, I guess, when they talk about this, because people immediately think, at least I think, about Bad Company 2, which is a pretty old game at this point, where you can destroy the entire village. I don't think that is a thing that has been done ever since, or not in a lot of games. Are you doing this like to a certain scale, or not at all, or what's the like destructive environment ability of Post Scriptum?
I think in destructibility there is always a degree of destruction, because if you think of Red Faction, I think this game is 10, 15 years old, I don't even remember, but you could hammer every wall and that was brilliant. And then Bad Company, you could remove pieces of wall, and when this wall and this part is gone, then the other side falls, and that was really, really good. But I mean, we are a small team, and we never started Post Scriptum thinking in terms of destruction. When you develop a game, it is something you start from the very beginning. It's like, I want all my buildings to be destroyable, then you model accordingly.
Yeah, the whole game was pretty much based around that. So
ours is not. So you could be inside a house and the house will not collapse on you if you put like a few HE in the door or on the wall, but you will not be at cover. I mean, if you are in a brick house and there is an AP around just going through the wall, you're gonna get killed.
Okay. So
that's for the big side of destruction. And now the small part of destruction could be, what if I'm driving a Tiger tank full speed through a wooden fence? Is it going to stop me like it is in many other games? And the answer is, very sadly, at the moment, it is going to stop you instantly. So we are going to work on technology that allows us to destroy it. But because we are going for a 50 versus 50 player game, destructing, I mean, it sounds silly to people, like, yeah, it's easy. You just select that barrier and make it destroyable. How hard could it be? But it is slightly more complex than this when you have 50 or 100 players in that very small location. Because if you think of Battleground, for instance, player unknown, you can roll over barriers and stuff, but it's because you don't have 100 players in that one radius. They are scattered around the entire map, and you can bypass what is going on the other side of the map.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So sadly at the moment, and that's something that makes me very sad because I'm a gamer as well. And yes, right now, and if we can, we'll change it. But right now, if you drive into a wooden wall with the Tiger, it is going to stop you.
I mean, maybe it's something for the future, right?
Yeah, if we can, of course. Yeah, I mean, it is stupid to be stopped by this. So if we can do it, of course we will.
Tiger tank versus like 2-pound fence. Who will win?
And I know it's going to piss off a lot of people, myself included, because when we play test the game, like, oh shit, there is a fence I have to go around, and I know it. So
there is workarounds with that, but like they're not perfect. So we're going to try. We're going to investigate and see what we can do.
So obviously you mentioned, and I think this was a nice little way you said this, is that Squad is the very, very, like, not Squad, sorry, the engine that Squad uses is what you guys use. It's like the chassis of your tank. To use like a World War II reference of your Tiger.
Oh yeah, she used a tank reference. Why am I using a car?
You're building your own pimped up tank out of the chassis. So obviously Squad is updating with lots of stuff like animations and bipods, and will Post Scriptum follow that? And with every Squad update, will Post Scriptum follow the same idea or the same updates?
Absolutely, yes. If it is technical, then yes. We are not following anything that is gameplay related or game mechanics related. We are not following this because we have our own vision of Post Scriptum. But yes, if it is technical, like animation system or bipod or Freelook, it is going to be in Post Scriptum for sure.
Same for the core inventory, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, so in a tank, you'll be able to switch from an AP round to an HE round, or even a smoke phosphorus round.
Like a deadly phosphorus round?
Yes.
Yep.
Shit. Okay. Well, now, damn it.
And you
Let me
should
play. Damn it. All right. Actually, that's one of the last questions. Okay, so you're trying to make it historical, and you have these historical maps and historical. You even mentioned, like, I think you mentioned a specific time on the 17th of September. So this might be a stupid question, but will there be any weather effects, like rain, snow, time differences, night, day, other than maybe the ones you already have? Like, I think it was a nice day on September the 17th. It wasn't snowing.
Yes. Yeah, it was clear.
Do you plan
It
to?
wasn't
Maybe
snowing.
snow in the future, or is that not at all? Or
if we were to do, the battle of the, in the east, like Bastogne and stuff in Belgium, maybe. But for now, what we can do and what we are going to do actually is there will be different version of each map during the day. So you could decide to play Hilsum on the 17th of September at 5 p.m. So the lighting conditions are going to be different. The sky is going to be different, but you could have the same cap zone layout. So you will have multiple versions of each maps. It's a bit like, imagine four islands or 4 maps, and you just do whatever you want in it, so you can decide what time. It is not dynamic, so you cannot stay 5 hours and expect the actual game to be 5 hours later, like you would have in Armour or many other games.
okay, but so there's not going to be necessarily like a weather system, but there's going to be different settings of maps, and that might depend.
Yep.
So like I said, so if you're going to play at 7 p.m., the ambiance will be different than if you're playing at like 10 a.m.
A bit of fog and maybe some things like this. So there is a difference between the map, the time of the day, and the layout of the actual game role.
I'm not sure if I asked this question last time. We all agreed that it probably doesn't matter if I ask a question again, especially this one, manual bolting. I think we discussed about this for like 10 minutes last time. It's very important to someone like me that plays too much RO2 and probably have some like residual PTSD from playing that game too much. Is there going to be manual bolting in Post Scriptum?
I would go even further. There will be only manual bolting. It's not going to be an option. It is, if you have a Car 98 in your hands, it is a manual bolting rifle, and that's it.
Ooh, I like this.
It's the same principle we are following with tanks. We have keyboard because usually it was like this little lever you would rotate to turn the turret. So we don't want to make it easy to players. That's just the way it is.
Also to make tanks less open.
So a Lee Enfield is faster to bolt, and the Car 98 is slower to bolt because of the length of the actual bolts.
That's awesome. This is not the last question, but the last serious question. A question from one of you guys saw on one of your posts on the Post Scriptum Facebook, which I will link, by the way, in the description of this video. It's, will vehicles be given a damage model or a hit point / health point system?
Right now, as of today, it is the health point system, which I do not like, and I know Squad doesn't like this system either. So regardless of what Squad is going to do on their end, we are going to make our own damage system with velocity, angling, and all those factors like the armor thickness and all those details. So for me, I'm a big fan of World War II Online, and we want to get close to their tank system.
Wow. Strikers already started working on the concepts and code for localized damage, so we're getting...
Yep, and that sounds
Awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever played World War II Online, but the tank system in that, even though it's an old game, it's really realistic. It's fun to play as well.
My favorite tank game of all.
Manual gears and everything.
God,
It's fun.
That sounds too much for me.
Oh yes, manual gears is also going to be in Post Scriptum, and again, this is not an option.
Oh God, I need to find myself a good driver then.
Yeah,
it's not as hard as you think.
We don't want it to be hard, but we want it to be complicated to master. Like anyone could drive it, but to really be efficient, you would need some time and some training.
I think we were talking about perhaps doing a couple of tutorial, either tutorial videos within the game itself, or a few sort of separate things on YouTube or something, just so people can have an idea of what they should be doing with each vehicle, how to use them, so that people aren't just sort of thrown straight into something they have no idea.
Basically,
how
I felt when I first dropped a Tiger/Panther in the test like 5-6 months ago. What are the buttons?
I don't believe the turret. It's not working.
So there's 2 questions left. The last one is going to be very obvious, but this one is something that I also saw. Obviously, so you're making a game. It's going to be, like I said, maybe on Steam that's what you're trying to. Is there going to be any sort of pre-access or alpha access, beta access, or like whatever you want to call it? Is there going to be like a pre-release access for people who either buy in or email in or whatever?
That is still not something we know yet. We want the game to be released fully next year in the spring 2018. Whether or not the game is going to be available before, let's say, this year, before the end of this year, it is still a maybe. We don't know yet.
Well, you kind of.
What I can tell is the game is actually playable. We have the new UI. We have everything is almost complete, but we want to polish it and we want to be sure that it is as good as can be.
You kind of already answered my other question, which kind of sucks. I was gonna ask you when can we play, but yeah, you just mentioned like spring 2018 is like your intended release.
Yes, yeah, but we would like, at least that is not our publisher vision of things or the team, it is my own. We would like to avoid early access. We would just like to release the game and then add content, but all the features will be there, all the basics will be there. Maybe not basics, but all the features are going to be there.
Well, I appreciate the session. I definitely learned some new stuff, and I hope the people that are watching learn some new stuff and are as excited as I am about Post Scriptum. It was good to catch up with you guys again, and I appreciate all of you answering some questions, some silly, some hopefully not silly. And I mean, I look forward to playing. Let's do it soon. Hashtag please. And yeah, I will link, like I said, I will link all of your stuff, your Facebook, your Twitter, and those videos that you mentioned in the description. So yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.